Hi, I'm Jane Reardon with the Illinois Supreme Court Commission on Professionalism. Welcome to Reimagining Law. In this video series, we're exploring how legal professionals are changing the way they deliver services to better meet the needs of the public. Today, I'm pleased to welcome Judge Diane Shelley of the Circuit Court of Cook County. She is also president of the Illinois Judges Association and a commissioner with the Illinois Supreme Court Commission on Professionalism. Welcome, Judge Shelley.
My pleasure.
Also joining me is Kenyatta Beverly. She's a labor and employment counsel for the Davey Tree Expert Company and president of the Black Women Lawyers Association of Greater Chicago, or the BWLA as we call it. Welcome, Kenyatta.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
My pleasure. I'm so glad for your time here. This is a unique moment in history. This year, we celebrate Black History Month in the middle of a global pandemic and a reawakening of racial inequity issues in our nation, our organizations, and in our personal lives. We have a lot to talk about, but what I want to address first is the likely impact of COVID-19 on the women of color in the legal profession. People of color, and particularly women lawyers of color, continue to be underrepresented in the legal profession for decades. Data shows that COVID has led to an alarming job loss already and retention challenges for women of color. According to NALP, women of color were really seriously negatively impacted in the 2008 and 2009 financial crisis, and we're just finally starting to regain their status in terms of numbers in the profession when COVID hit. Kenyatta, how can these women of color successfully navigate these challenging times?
You know, Jane, I wish I had, a magic formula, the perfect answer for that. And, I don't, but I can say, kind of what worked for me. I came out of law school. I graduated in 2009. And as we all know, that was not, a time when anyone would pick, to start their legal career. It was a recession. We saw much of what we're seeing right now with COVID, with the pandemic and its impact on, lawyers of color, especially women. And for me, recognizing again that many of these issues that arise, such as, lawyers of color being, the first to be dismissed, the first on the chopping block, these go to systemic issues that are, would take a far longer conversation than we can engage in right here today. But for me, it was finding my people. And for me, that was BWLA and the Black Women Lawyers Association, the organization that I'm now the president of over a decade later, but they were my support system. They provided me with the resources and tools to navigate with the mentorship. They essentially let me know at that time, and we're doing the same now for, countless young ladies that are reaching out to us going through, that we're here for you. We have you. It's not the end of the world. We have been there. We know how to get through this, and we'll help you. So I think that it's very important to network and find your support system.
And Judge Shelley, we know that recruiting diverse talent is a priority for law firms, but what about the courts? How can court systems recruit diverse judges, and why is that important?
Well, Attorney Beverly made a terrific statement from the perspective of the lawyer trying to find employment. But I would like to address the people that are making the decisions. There's a saying that that we've all heard: the last hired and the first fired. That is the impact that COVID can have. But the people that are making decisions have to look beyond that. Just like with the bench, we have to look for talent, and talent comes in many forms. It doesn't come in a certain demographic, a certain socioeconomic status, a certain color. What we have to do is be able to identify and recognize people that have potential and reach out to them during this particular period of time. As judges, We must look at young attorneys. And as managers in large law firms, they must look at young attorneys in a different way in order to make sure that at the end of this, there is a diverse group of people still employed in the workforce.
Yeah, I love that, Judge Shelley. And I can just say from personal experience that, one of my best friends, she is an attorney. She wants to be a judge one day, but, didn't really have a clue of how to get there. But there have been, there's one specific judge that reached out to her and has essentially been guiding her, since she graduated law school, as far as what she needs to do, the steps she needs to take. And so, this judge recognized something in her and reached out and is helping her.
And as an institution, Judge Shelley, why is it important that we have diversity on the bench?
Well, diversity on the bench is necessary in order to have a true democracy. It's only through a group of diverse judges can you actually have a system that is meaningful, because you have persons from different backgrounds making these decisions. As you know, that the judicial branch of government interprets the law. So if you had a group that was interpreting the law but did not have the input and the voice of everyone, then that would undermine the concept of democracy, because it would not be of the people. And that's why diversity is so important. Also, a diverse group of people bring such unique and rich experiences with them. You just look at our various cultures, and do we really want to have a society where those cultures, those attitudes are not included in our decision-making process? I think that the country is better and the legal system will be better as diversity increases in these areas.
Absolutely. And we've seen what happens, national headlines when there are not diverse individuals at the table for some of these, fashion brands that have made really horrible marketing decisions, and I mean, we need diverse judiciary, we need diverse prosecutors, we need diversity just across the board everywhere. It makes us better.
Yeah, I agree. And while recruitment is important, and we touched briefly on retention of diverse attorneys, why do you suppose are women and diverse attorneys walking out the door, assuming it's voluntary? Why is it important for organizations to acknowledge the rich and multicultural experiences of their workforce, rather than, for example, assuming all women are the same?
Yeah, they're walking out, and just speaking as from the perspective of a Black woman lawyer who's been around for over a decade, kind of observing, because they're not feeling supported. They're not feeling like they are truly wanted or belong, at their law firm, at their corporation. You often see law firms can bring them in, but you see the numbers decline as you look up the ranks. And so, we're not being promoted. We're not being given meaningful work. We don't have true sponsors. We may have mentors, but we need sponsors, people in power at the organization that will literally look out for you and speak up for you in these meetings where a decision might be being made to let some people go, and, women of color at the top of that list, and so it's a lot of different reasons, but I think it boils down to just not feeling like, you're truly wanted there, that you're just pretty much fulfilling a quota. And your second question, I believe, was, along the lines of why it's important for differences to be recognized. And I mean, why wouldn't we want to recognize those differences? It's apparent we are all different. There are things that are important to some groups that are not as important to other groups. There are things that impact other groups that don't impact others, and we can't ignore that. And when we ignore that, that's when it becomes a problem. So, I really give kudos to the firms and organizations that have, I see affinity groups where they make space for these conversations amongst, women of color attorneys or Black attorneys, where they can discuss their issues and bring it to management and actually address them. And maybe you'll keep more people if you don't ignore the fact that we're different.
Yeah, I love how you use the word belong. Unless you are recognized for your uniqueness, whoever you are, you're not going to feel that sense of belonging. And so I want to ask you both, starting.
Can I add?
Shelley, please.
There's just one point I would love to add. It just makes good business sense.
Yeah.
And I think that's how people have to start looking at this. It's just logical. It's good business sense because you are servicing a diverse country, a diverse group. So why not have your business representative of that group?
Right, and I can speak also as corporate counsel. I'm in-house at the Davey Tree Expert Company, and I've only been there since October. But it was important to me coming in the door when I spoke with my general counsel. Hey, let's talk about our outside counsel spend. Let's talk about who we use, what their diversity numbers look like, and that's important to me. And so we're already talking about changes that we will make, and I'm so grateful to have her. She's on board, with these changes. Our CEO as well. But as corporate counsel, we need to also demand that our law firms truly staff our matters with diverse attorneys and give them meaningful work, not just the doc review, or the, work that's going to develop them and promote them and get them recognized. So, we have that power and we have to start demanding.
And good for you. Yes, general counsels have a lot of power to affect change in this regard. And also, I want to have you address, starting with Judge Shelley, the power and the influence of bar associations. How can they help promote a more diverse and inclusive profession?
Well, I think you have the most representative bar association here today of how a bar association can make a difference. I'm a little biased. I remember when the Black Women's Lawyers Association began. I don't have the exact year, but I think it was either 83 or 84. And at that time, a group of African-American women lawyers just felt so disconnected and alone that they just came together after work to sit down and just share their thoughts. And as a result of that, I've seen the organization develop over the years. And I've seen such great networking, and I've seen such wonderful attorneys grow out of that. Members that joined as law students that matured and later became partners of major law firms based on those relationships and the nurturing that they received within the association. But I don't want to be totally biased. I do want to shout out to other organizations, the Cook County Bar Association, some of your other affinity bar associations. As a judge, I look at the Judges Association. It is about relationship building. And one thing I've noticed as president of a statewide bar association, I'm now being given the opportunity to interact with judges from rural communities in the far southern district of this state. And we have a commonality. And we both grow from this exchange, and it results in a better system. So bar associations connect you and grow you. And I would urge everyone to reach out and become a member of that association that fits your needs.
The same. And Judge Shelley, I just really appreciate your kind words. And I also appreciate you, attending those initial BWLA meetings and helping the organization to grow. Because, without a doubt, I never shy away from admitting that I probably wouldn't be here today as a successful practicing attorney without BWLA and all that they poured into me, because I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't. I come from, I'm a girl from East St. Louis. My mom, didn't go to college. My dad got his GED. Very proud of him for that. Loved them both immensely, but they couldn't guide me on what it meant to be an attorney or even, to get through law school. So having an organization like BWLA, where I immediately had all these, sisters, aunties, whatever you want to call them, that took me under their wing and made sure that I was okay, even when I wanted to give up. I mean, I seriously, I could cry almost. I'm so grateful. So thank you.
Wow, that's quite a testimonial. You have both alluded to or mentioned the importance of mentors. I think mentorship is important for every lawyer. But I'm wondering if you could speak to the importance of a mentor or two in your life, and how mentors can really help support the next generation of diverse legal professionals. Let's start with you, Judge Shelley, please.
Well, I love this opportunity because I think it's so important that we lift up the names of those that came before us. I remember in undergrad, I had a professor, Professor Vashti Lewis, and she saw something in me that I probably didn't see in myself at that time. And she nurtured me. At the point that I was deciding to go to law school, she was the person that said, "You are talented. I'm going to make that phone call. I assure you that a law school will be very happy to have you." And so I shout out her name today. But currently, I have a mentor that is still a member of the judiciary, and I hope for many more years. That's Judge Arnett Hubbard. And the wisdom that she bestowed on me was, "You are powerful, and do not let anyone take away your power. And more importantly, don't you ever just voluntarily give up your power." So I appreciate their mentorship, and it is very important that we continue to do so. In my humble way, I try to continue that legacy by reaching out to young attorneys and staying in touch with attorneys as they travel this path. And I hope that one day that I will have assisted someone also in their career development.
Oh, no doubt. I already know that's true. Kenyatta, what about you?
Yeah, my answer is probably a little weird because the most memorable mentor to me, she doesn't even know me, and I don't technically know her, but I met her when I was a third grader on a field trip to a law school in St. Louis, and she was a law student at the time. And there was a mock trial that we were able to attend, and I was, a quote unquote juror during the trial. But yeah, she just, had a huge impact on me, like a lifelong impact, because I didn't quite understand what a lawyer did, but I knew that I wanted to be like her. She was powerful, she was smart. But as far as the mentors that I have, over the last 10 years plus of my career, former Senator James Claiborne has been incredible to me. Judge LaShonda Hunt, Judge Patrice Ball-Reed, Judge Patricia Holmes. I would be remiss if I didn't mention Suhaili Davis and Ami Scott. There are so many. And the thing that many of them have in common is that, I met them through BWLA, many of them being past presidents and even founders. So, just going to the importance of finding your people, finding your organization that will support you and nurture you for the long haul.
Thank you, Kenyatta. I'm struck by that episode of just one exposure in one event, and it helped you find a career path. It really strikes me that we never know how we're influencing others, either formally or informally through mentoring. But this has been a fascinating discussion. I know we could go on for hours, but we have to end it here. And I want to thank you both, Judge Shelley, Kenyatta, Beverly, for joining me today. And thank you all for watching. Please like and share this video with those who you think might benefit, and subscribe to the Commission's channel to stay updated on upcoming episodes. Information on how to stay connected with the Commission is in the notes. Meanwhile, thanks for watching and be well.